you get into the live free creative lifestyle and, promoting that? So what were certain things that triggered those changes in your brand and in your company?
Yeah, I love that question. So you'll see all of these things start to kind of link together. So
yeah,
around the same time that I had my baby, we moved across the country, we built this home, I had 3 kids, I was working, I was, doing a blog, I was trying to start building a business. And so one of my biggest shifts that I remember in my mindset was that there was a day that I put my kids down for nap time, and I had been so excited about all of the plans that I had while they were sleeping. I was going to do some stuff. Like I had this list of things I wanted to accomplish. And I put them all down, and I went and sat on the couch, and I was like, I am out of energy.
Yeah.
Like I have 3 hours right now that are totally empty. So the time is there, but I physically, emotionally, I don't have the energy right now to go do any of the things that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And it was maybe the first time that I realized I had been fairly good at budgeting my time and managing my time, but I was not at all good at managing my energy and thinking about my energy as a resource. And what could I do to preserve my energy and to help me so that when I did have time, that I also felt energized and that I had some motivation and that I felt good. And so I started to explore that, and I realized some of the things that were really draining my energy were making tons of decisions that had no bearing on my fulfillment or happiness as a human. I was making way too many decisions. I was also dealing with a lot more things, clutter and just extra stuff around the house. I was cleaning up a lot, stuff that we weren't even really using. And I kept feeling like, gosh, I keep bumping into all of these belongings that are not adding value to my life. And the same thing with plans. Meal planning was something that was such a sticking point that I was like, oh, I have all these kids and myself and my husband, why do we all have to eat every single day? Could we just take a break from eating for a week and just, So I started experimenting, and that's just going to be my buzzword for this whole thing, experimenting with how can I eliminate some of this unnecessary decision-making, unnecessary stuff, unnecessary planning. And I started to just really minimize things. And so the first thing that I did was start a capsule wardrobe. And I had read about it on the internet. I had met a girl at a conference in Texas who her whole blog was about living with a capsule wardrobe. And I was like, I'm going to do this. So I took everything out of my closet. She had recommended to try to stick to about 40 items total, not including jackets and exercise and underwear, but it was including shoes, tops, bottoms, dresses.
Oh, wow.
And so I took everything out. I tried it all on. And this is me 6 months post third baby. And so I'm I have clothes in my closet that I've had since college and high school that I don't really like. It doesn't really fit. I don't why? Why is it still here? I felt bad for it and I didn't want to get rid of it, So I started realizing that all of this extra stuff was causing more damage for me than it was benefit. And I started becoming a little bit ruthless about if it is not serving a purpose and helping me feel my best right now, it's got to go. Mm-hmm. So I built a capsule wardrobe that I loved. I still operate with a capsule wardrobe, or I guess you call it an edited wardrobe. I don't stick to a number now, but I only shop twice a year now. It's fantastic. I started doing the same thing with my meal planning. I created what I call a minimal meal plan, and I have shared about it on my podcast. I even have an online course where people are I don't really know how to get started with this. It has worksheets and lessons and includes a nutrition component, but it's basically choosing the meals that your family likes to eat and then just eating those and repeating them rather than coming up with 30 different dinners during a month. Choose 7 or 8 that you love and just repeat them, just rotate them. When I started doing this, I had a lot of friends and people say, oh my gosh, doesn't your family get so sick of the meals that you're eating over and over? And I remember from our very first meal plan, we changed it about every 6 months or so. My very first meal plan, I had each of my kids choose their own favorite dinner. And my oldest chose spaghetti and meatballs, and he loved it. I am not kidding. Every single Monday night for a year and a half, we had spaghetti and meatballs, and my son would remember that it was Monday. He'd be like, I'm hungry. What are we having for? Oh, it's Monday. It's meatball day. He's so excited every single week. The excitement never died because kids love repeating their favorite meals. Kids, we all thrive with routine, and it became so anyway. So we still, long story short, we still operate on a minimal meal plan.
So tell me, how other ways have you simplified life? And you're teaching that as well.
Right. So I just have kind of gone through in my own life, where's the friction? Where are the rubbing points, the things that are making me feel frustrated over and over again, or the areas in my house that I like open a closet or a cupboard and I'm like, I don't know what to do there. Those are the areas that I focus in on and figure out, what do I want to happen here? What would be the ideal way for this to go or for this to look? What do I need right here, right now? And my goal is to eliminate all of the unnecessary and to preserve and create space for the things that really matter to me, the things that I love. So I've just, over the last several years, sort of systematically gone through my life. And here's the thing that people, I think, we falsely believe that you go through it, like you go through your closet and then you're done, or like you figure out a meal plan and then you're done. The trick to this is that it is a way of living, like the figuring out the systems and the decluttering, and like this is a way of life.
So how has that impacted your business and the way you are now running your business also?
Yeah. So all of my revenue when I started as a blogger was coming through these third-party contracts, working with sponsors to promote their products. Well, I decided that I was not only going to not buy products, but I also was not going to work with companies who were selling. I didn't want to promote products that were non-consumable during this year that I was not. The whole point was to not have the stuff. So the only work projects I was able to take during that year were with companies who had consumable products that aligned with my values. So that decreased my workload somewhat, and also made me realize that like I want to run a business that's aligned with my personal values, and being a constant promoter of products is not necessarily aligned with my messaging, which is also, you don't have to buy everything that everyone tells you to buy. Like it's hard to be the person who's selling things and also saying, don't buy everything. And I mean, that's a line that I'm still walking, because I do still work with companies, not as often as I did before. I mean, it's really only when it's very, very well aligned.
That's really, it impacted me. Like I gained so much from just this conversation with you. But you know, this would not be called Law Chat if I did not ask about some law stuff. So tell me if there's like a couple things or one thing that you're like, oh gosh, I wish I'd known this before I started or before I got into this particular business relationship.
So I have a couple turning points. One of my big turning points in my business was when I decided to incorporate as an LLC. And it's like, it seems like such a little thing. And in the age of like Etsy shops and like bloggers and influencers and all of these things, like it seems like maybe just optional. Like, oh, I'm just like selling some stuff on Etsy here or there. And maybe just, so for many years I had done, like I was running my blog. I had run an Etsy shop. I was a seamstress for a long time. And so I sold clothing on Etsy. I don't know, all these things.
What haven't you done?
I don't know. I did a little bit of everything. I love it. But when I decided with One Little Minute blog, actually, when I was like, okay, I'm going to like make money as a blogger, I decided to get an LLC for One Little Minute blog. It was the first time that I was like, well, it was the first time that I was like doing a real business. It wasn't just like a side hobby or just kind of like a little thing. It wasn't making a ton of money. It wasn't even about that. It was like, as soon as I decided I'm going to go through the steps to make this official and legal, I was so empowered. It also brought a couple like responsibilities. Like I needed to like pay the taxes quarterly and things like that otherwise like weren't part of my business. But it was just really empowering. And the same thing happened when I switched businesses, and I switched my business when I moved to Virginia to Live Free Creative Company. And just like making it official and investing in my business that way, investing in myself that way, I think I underestimated. And I think a lot of, especially like beginner entrepreneurs, might underestimate the power that they feel when they make things legitimate and make things legal.
Yeah.
That was really awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think a lot of times we underestimate the legal aspect of a business. Even the financial aspect of a business, we'll underestimate those, but those are so important to build a solid foundation for your business.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's also, I think, a pivotal point from turning a hobby into a business as well, is when you start taking action steps in your own brain to make it more legitimate and solid. So before I get into my fun fact round, I want to quickly ask you, what is something that anchors you? When, you know, you do face challenges, we all will face challenges. We'll face the dark days as well. So what anchors you during that and helps you come back and, you know, put you back on your feet?
One of the things that anchors me is I am a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I have a deep belief in our inherent value. And I think that that comes from, an idea and a belief that there is a higher power who cares about us and loves us and has that we're connected to this power, to her, him, in this important way. So my belief is that there are seeds of godhood inside of me. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's something that no matter what is happening in my life, no matter what I achieve or don't achieve, on those down days, I definitely feel the down. I mean, I feel the like, gosh, I'm lonely and I'm sad and I'm frustrated. And I feel like I wish more people would tell me how cool I am, because like I could use a little validation, And when all of those, I like allow those feelings and I let them settle. And when I get quiet, and I think what really helps me with this is like creating space for my own meditation and my own stillness. Mm-hmm. It's in that stillness and in that sort of stopping my own thoughts, pausing the thoughts that I think other people are having or not having that I would like, and just allowing myself to sink deep into this familiar feeling of inherent goodness and inherent enoughness.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Yeah. So tell us some fun facts. So what is your favorite book?
My favorite nonfiction book is called Essentialism. Fantastic, and I highly recommend it to everyone. My favorite fiction book is called The School of Essential Ingredients, which is funny. I actually never thought, well, right now I didn't realize that they both have the word essential in them.
Yeah.
But The School of Essential Ingredients is a really fun, beautiful, fictional tale about a cooking school. And I love the characters. I love the food I love food and I love the food descriptions, and it's really fun.
Nice. So what is your favorite business tools or resources?
Maybe I just have to shout this out. The platform that I've been teaching my courses on is called Teachery. And it's not something that I had seen before, and I was doing some research and I just really love it. I love the way that it's set up. I love the access to it. So that's been really fun. That's been a fun platform for me.
I like that. Well, we've had such a great conversation, but I'm sure others would love to hear from you more and kind of like maybe look into your book and the courses that you're teaching. So where can everyone find you?
So my home base is livefreecreative.co. And from there, you can go to the shop that has the book, and my courses are on there. My podcast is linked on there as well. And on Instagram, I'm livefreemiranda. So I hang out on there as well.
Well, I follow you on your podcast. I follow you on Instagram also, and I love your feed, and your podcast is also awesome. A lot of great nuggets. And today also you shared amazing nuggets of, just thriving and living. And I love that, because my personal belief is also to live abundantly and to live life. Yeah. And I think it's so important to take out the shoulds, and it's important to experiment. And it's important to also, have the ability to take that leap of faith, even if it may not be perfection, and it may be something that you totally mess up. I love that. Totally. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm just so happy that we were able to have this conversation.
Totally. I'm thrilled to be here. It's so fun to chat with you and to catch up.